Hello, Melisa here. So good to see you. Today we will be meditating. I'll talk a little bit about meditation and the different types of meditation, and then we'll end with a meditation to get started. So I have so many students that tell me, "Oh my gosh, Melisa, I can't meditate. I'm just not good at it. I just can't do it. I sit down to meditate and my mind is way too busy. I'll never be able to meditate." So they just quit. They just give up because they think they're not good at it. But what is meditation? And why should we keep doing it? And why should we keep practicing it even when we think we're not so good at it? The mind goes all over the place. That's the nature of the mind. And what meditation is it's kind of a broad term for different techniques that we use to quiet the mind, to quiet all of the chitter chatter here and there, mental chatter. Some people call it like the monkey mind because it just goes, ooh, oh, here's a banana, oh, here's another, oh, there's something shiny. And that's what the mind does. It's kind of grabbing at all of these different things here and there. Meditation does not mean that you sit down and you have to sit in a lotus pose and you're completely still and you think no thoughts. That's not what meditation means because that's not realistic. That's if we were to say, don't think about anything, I want you to sit there, be completely still like statue and not think about anything, our mind would go off in a million different directions. We would be unsuccessful. So here's what we need to know. Our human brains have pathways, and the human brains are designed to look for danger. So that's how human beings have stayed alive for thousands of years because we have these brains that are alerted to danger. When we watch animals, think of a deer that freezes. It senses something. It might be a smell. It might be a sound, and all of a sudden, every cell of that deer is alert and waiting for danger. We do the same things. We have sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing. We have two other senses as well. Um, and we have a sixth sense as well that gives us another alertness. Usually, that one, by the time we're 7 or 8, we've kind of squashed the sixth sense and stopped paying attention to it, unfortunately. But it's a really, it is a sense and it gives us a lot of feedback on what's going on. Now, the human brain has these chemicals that are released, and the chemicals tell us something is safe or something is not safe. I'm in a safe situation or I'm not in a safe situation. And because the brain is programmed to look for danger, our brains are constantly looking for danger, like on the lookout. I want you to imagine being in a dark room. Say you're in your bedroom and this is our life. We're just using this as a metaphor, okay? Metaphor is we're in a dark room and we can't see anything, but we have a flashlight. So we turn the flashlight on and we shine it down at our shoes and we see our shoes. And then we turn it up and we see the closet with hangers in it. And then we turn it to the bed and you see the bed. You turn it to the dresser and you see the dresser. Wherever you shine the flashlight, that's what you're focused on. Now, because our human brains are programmed to look for danger, our minds often go from shoes, danger, which don't trip over them, to closet, hangers, um, whatever, danger somehow. And we go from negative thought to negative thought to negative thought to negative thought, kind of shining our flashlight on all these things. And we could easily say, first, it's just busy. It's so much. Even if they're not negative, it's just busyness. It's like boom, boom. Anytime a sense hits us, something we get information in through our senses, our mind starts to go there. In yoga, like the Yoga Sutras say that yoga is the restraint of the fluctuations of our mind. And it's yoga chitta vritti nirodha. And I think of the chitta vrittis, that yoga is the restraint or the yoking of the busyness of our consciousness, the disturbances to our consciousness, the chitta vrittis. And the yogis will describe our chitta as a peaceful lake, lake that's completely glassy. And that's what our mind is like when it's undisturbed. But anytime a leaf lands on it, or a bird lands on it, or a twig falls on it, what happens? The ripples start to ripple out, and the ripples grow and grow, and they reach all the way toward the shores of the lake. What yoga does is it gives us something to focus on, because we can't tell our mind, don't focus on anything, don't focus on anything, don't focus on anything, just sit and don't think about anything. We would be thinking about everything. So instead, we give the mind something to focus on. We say, bring all of your attention right here onto this, whether it's a sound, whether it's a flame, whether it's the breath, whether it's the clouds. Um, Focus on something, and then all of the other busyness starts to become muted. Now, when we compare that to the room metaphor, when we're in a dark room, it's sort of like turning the lights up in the whole room. So, by us having single pointed concentration, really focused on one thing and constantly returning to it, returning to it, returning to it. Every time the mind goes here and there and here and there, we bring it gently back to whatever the focal point of the meditation is for that meditation. It's like turning the lights up in the whole room. We have a new level of awareness. We're actually changing the frequency of our brain waves. So with our brain, we have several different brain waves. When we're in delta, that's deep sleep. When we're in theta, that's usually where we see a lot of meditation, awake and aware, but not reactive, not busy. Uh, And then we have alpha brain waves. And our alpha brain waves also where we see meditators a lot in alpha. Alpha is like a relaxed state, but really aware and aware of what's going on. And then we have beta way up at the top, which is where most of us operate from a place of beta. Now, when we move into the lower states, into the theta, uh, we start to see things differently. We start to be able to connect with altered states of consciousness. So it's not just here what we see, taste, smell, touch, living in this 3D world that we live in. We start to be able to perceive uh, more of what this life is like. Now, let's talk about this life. So, life here on Earth, we are humans in this body, and this body is programmed with all of these senses. So we have our five senses plus our sixth sense, and then we have two other senses as well that help us to be able to um, feel where we are. So proprioception helps us to know where we are in space. It's kind of like our relationship with gravity and how am I moving and am I close to a table and where am I in space. That's proprioception. And then we have interoception, which is when we are able to tune into what's going on. We're getting feedback from inside the body, feeling your heartbeat or noticing your digestive tract, those kinds of things. When we meditate on something, whether that is a sound, whether that is a breath, whether that is a candle flame, it's one that I love, by yoking or restraining all of the busyness, it's almost like clearing out all of the clutter so that you get a broader perspective of what's in front of you and what's important. Having discernment about what is important and what is not important. They, and I'll use the infamous they say because I'm not, there are lots of different numbers, but they say that the average person has between 60 and 80,000 thoughts a day circulating through our mind. And about 90% of those are repeated thoughts over and over. Our brains work that way. We create a neural pathway, and once that pathway is created, the brain automatically we start to think in the same way over and over and over again. That's why changing a habit is really challenging because we've been conditioned to think that way. So we start to mute all of that. Those 80,000 thoughts become quiet, they become less important. They are not the focal point anymore. Have you ever, I'm sure we all have, but gone somewhere and done something and we had so many opinions? Up here is like, well, I can't believe she was wearing this, and oh, how could he have said that? And da da da, whatever it is. And then at the end, it's like, what did I learn? What did I get out of that? I don't know. We didn't get anything. I didn't get anything out of it because I was so busy. My mind was so busy already thinking it knew everything. It was so busy judging and talking and criticizing and comparing. And that's the ego. And that's what the mind does. What meditation does is it gives us a little bit of a break from that voice, from the ego voice. The Sanskrit word for nature is prakriti. And here on planet Earth, anything that's material is considered nature. So it doesn't have to be a tree, but we can use a tree or a plant. We know that a tree starts off as a little seed, we put it in the dirt, it starts to grow roots, and then after a little bit, it butts out of the ground and it starts to grow. It gets leaves, the leaves fall. Sometime in the spring, the leaves come back and there are flowers, and it gets warm, they dry up, they fall off. It's kind of the cycle of life, right? So this cycle of nature is that everything in nature is always changing, always changing. Even a banana, as soon as you unpeel it and it's exposed to oxygen, it's like within minutes, right? It's brown. Everything is constantly changing. We humans want safety, comfort, security, and something that we can rely on. I want to be able to rely on this. I want to be able to know that this is it. This is for good. This is forever. There's nothing on this planet that is like that. And that's just the nature of life on Earth. Change. Change is the one thing that we can rely on. Change is the one thing that we can depend on. Change is the one thing that we know for sure is going to happen. There will be change. Meditation is a way that we humans are able to gain solid footing on a surfboard or on a paddleboard. Like imagine you're living life on a paddleboard, and we're doing kind of this balancing act constantly, back and forth, not wanting to fall in. That's just what life is like. Meditation allows us to be able to find our center so that we are more stable doing this balancing act. Uh, okay. There are different types of meditations. Okay? They're passive meditation. So a passive meditation is you have a focal point for your meditation. You set a timer, whether that's for 5 minutes or 20 minutes, and you focus on that. That might be your breath. That might be a specific breath, like a counting breath. That might be a mantra or a sound. That might be something you're looking at, a yantra or a flame. But it's a quiet, silent meditation. We're simply allowing all of the thoughts to settle so that we can turn the light up in the whole room and have new levels of awareness. Then we have uh, different guided meditations or altered states of consciousness meditations. And this is what I've been working with for the last year and a half or so. On Before that, I practiced transcendental meditation, which is a quiet meditation of repeating a mantra silently for 20 minutes twice a day. Um, Before that, I did Wayne Dyer's meditations for manifesting for a couple of years. There was a morning and an evening out loud mantra. So different from transcendental meditation. This is one where you sit and you are chanting Om and chanting Ah for 20 minutes each. And before that, I was introduced to meditation when I was a teenager, maybe even before. I was introduced to it before that because my mom was a meditator, but uh, by an art teacher gave me a cassette tape of Shakti Gawain's creative visualization when I was 15. And I listened to that every night when I went to bed for about 2 years. And that's a guided meditation, guiding you through visualizing states where you can relax and find peace and bring down, settle the sympathetic nervous system. It really is to bring you down into a relaxed state. So you have guided meditations where you can reach altered states of consciousness. Um, and I also think sometimes guided meditations are more accessible for beginners when we're first learning to meditate. We know it's really hard, right? You sit down and quiet, quiet. You hear click, click, click of the clock, or you might hear the of the air conditioner, or you might hear the neighbor's TV, whatever it is. And you go, oh my gosh, all these things are getting in the way of my meditation. It's hard. It's definitely hard. The techniques are simple, but meditating itself is not easy, but it does take commitment. So it's not about, oh, I'm going to go into meditation and I'm not supposed to have any thoughts. It's, I am going to meditate and I will simply notice the thoughts. I will notice the busyness of my mind. And we always bring it back gently. We don't ever want to force anything. We're not pushing a thought away. We're not resisting it in any way because what we resist persists. Instead, oh, okay, we label it thinking in quotes, not a good thought, not a bad thought, simply thinking, and gently bring your awareness back to the focal point of that particular meditation, whether that's a count or a breath or if it's a guided meditation. Now, the benefits, so many benefits. Meditation, the benefits are cumulative, they build upon each other. So the more you meditate, the more you'll start to notice the benefits. And it really is important to just say, I am committed to living my best life. I am committed to feeling as good as I possibly can for the rest of my life. And if not for the rest of my life, maybe it's just for today. When we commit, when we say, I deserve to feel good, I want to feel good, I want to feel good. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be resentful. I don't want to be unworthy. All of those things, all of those thought patterns are conditioned patterns in our brains. So wouldn't we want to be able to not be controlled by them if we didn't have to be controlled by them? I mean, it's sort of like, why meditate? Well, because life will improve in absolutely every single way beyond what you can even imagine simply by sitting and being still for 20 minutes a day. Um, Meditation is, and whether it's a guided meditation or whether it's an altered state of conscious meditation or whether it's a quiet meditation, you'll find what works for you. And what I suggest is to try lots of different techniques. In this course, you'll be practicing several techniques, and then stick with the one that really resonates with you. Stick with the one that works for you. And that might work for you for a while. It might work for you for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. And if at any point you decide to, you might change. Like I've practiced several schools of meditation, and I still practice sometimes 2 to 3 types of meditation within a day. So it's about what works for you and giving yourself permission to stick with that. And then the commitment also to stick with that. But so many benefits. Our mood is improved, we're less reactive, we have better focus, we have more clarity, we have more patience, we have more connection with other people because we're able to be present with other people. We're willing to be in discomfort. We have the ability more to be in discomfort without complaining, simply being. And life can be full of discomfort. There can be lots of moments of discomfort in life. So it's being okay with that. We're less judgmental because we have more awareness. The health benefits, lower blood pressure, better clarity, fewer sick days, um, overall improved health. The benefits are truly miraculous. It would be if you were to sell this stuff, if you were to say, oh my gosh, you know what, go buy this jar and you'll have all of these benefits. You just have to take this one, um, you know, cup a day. Everyone would be buying it. But the reason not everyone meditates or is we just give up too easily. We live in a society where we have instant gratification. I can order something and it can be here this afternoon. And meditating, you have to sit and get to know ourselves. It's sitting with our thoughts. And sometimes my thoughts are really nasty. Sometimes my thoughts are so scary that I can hardly breathe. Sometimes my thoughts feel so overwhelming. It's like a tidal wave, and I just want to run. When we practice meditation, we learn how to sit with all of the feelings. We learn to simply be. We learn how to observe, and we learn it's like getting to meet yourself, getting to meet your highest self, but you have to go through the scary stuff first. Now, this is all the stuff that I'm experiencing. So, um, you might read different books or have different teachers that tell you different things. And I am not saying in any way that their experiences are not valid in any way. I'm simply sharing my experiences, that it's scary. Getting to know my highest self, my truest self, is scary, has been scary. And I've had to go through lots of fear and sit in the fear and sit in the discomfort, listening to that voice that tells me all of these things that are not true about myself. And I've had to sit there, go, okay, back to my breath. Okay, back to the flame. All right, noticing, label, call it thinking, and not giving that voice any more power. Because what happens if we don't start to acknowledge the voice is that the voice actually has us lose out on life quite a bit. That voice, if we don't practice meditation, the voice is still going on, it's still there. Oh, you're a loser. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, who do you think you are? Oh, you're so pathetic. Whatever it is, the voice tells you. And we all have our own voices based on how we were raised, right? Based on what we were told or what we believed about ourselves as we were growing up. If we don't actually take the time to hear that voice and then go, well, wait a second, that's not my highest self. That's not me. Um, and we start to then lay out all of these things. It's like unfolding this stuff that we've been carrying around with us all of the time for years and decades, and laying it all out and then going, oh, well, wait a second, that doesn't belong here. And wait a second, that doesn't belong here either. And that doesn't belong here. That doesn't belong here. Now, know that none of these things are what you're focused on as you start meditating. These are things that have unfolded for me through decades of meditation practice, where I've really been able to lay things out about myself and get to know my highest self in a way I couldn't have even imagined before. So I just wanted to say that because I want you to know there is a certain amount of courage that goes into starting and committing to a meditation practice. There's definitely a level of tenacity and commitment And tapas, tapas is the Sanskrit word for heat to create change. When we heat something up, like heating up metal, it purifies the metal. We're somehow changing it. You're able to mold it and shape it. It takes out the impurities. Meditation practice does that for me. So there might be times when you feel uncomfortable. If you're a fidgeter, okay, these are pretty cool. And it doesn't need to be this. You're welcome to use a crystal or mala beads or something, but these are little rings. Plant therapies where Nate got them, and they just roll. You can just put it if you're, it's to give you something. So while you sit, you don't have to be still. We're not playing statue. We're allowing our minds to be still. I mean, we don't want to be chewing gum or tapping. No gum, okay? No gum in yoga, no gum in meditating. But you can simply roll just like this. If you have mala beads, you're welcome to put mala beads string from one hand into the other. That one might work as well. Now, today, the meditation that we are doing is breath awareness. And it's exactly what it sounds like, being aware of your breath. So when we go into meditation, I'll guide you in the beginning, but it is a silent, it's a passive meditation where you simply, every breath in, we always breathe in through our nose. Every breath in, I am breathing in. Say it silently. With every breath out, and you can breathe out through your nose or through your mouth, I am breathing out. So on the inhale, I am breathing in. Exhale, I am breathing out. When you notice that your mind has gone off to the grocery list or what you have to do after class or what you need to have done by next year, label it thinking. You can even put little quotation mark thinking. I picture the word and thinking just goes right across my little screen in quotes and guide your awareness right back to your breath. Oh, I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Your job is just to stay, to stay. When you want to get up, you want to check your phone, you want to turn off the light, you want to go, turn off the light now, go turn it off, and come back to a comfortable seat. We'll start with 2 minutes. We'll come back in, we'll check in, and then we'll go back in for 10 more minutes. Okay? So plant your feet firmly onto the ground. Close your eyes. Notice your breath. Breathe in through your nose and breathe all the way down into your belly. Exhale with a sigh. And now keep your awareness on your breath as you breathe in. Silently say, I am breathing in. As you breathe out, I am breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. On your next exhalation, turn your head down. And as you blink open your eyes, keep them downcast. You're just blinking open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. How was that? Simple. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. How do you feel after 2 minutes of silence and stillness? Take a note. If you've got a notebook, you can just write down how you felt at 2 minutes. We'll go back in, exact same technique for 10 minutes. Again, it's I am breathing in. I am breathing out. The mind, thoughts are going to come in. It's what the mind does. You don't scold it. Okay, acknowledge it, label it thinking. Come right back to your breath. Close your eyes. Feel your feet on the floor. Breathe in through your nose all the way into your belly. I am breathing in. As you exhale, I am breathing out. You stay with your breath and I will mind the time. Your next exhalation, drop your chin down towards your chest. Feel your feet on the floor. Blink, open your eyes, open, closed, just to slowly let in the light. Don't want to shock our nervous system with too much stimulus. How was that? Did you stay? Were you able to sit still for 10 minutes or sit, not necessarily still, but sit? Or did you have to get up to go change the clothes from the washer to the dryer or make a phone call or check your phone? Just notice those things. And the benefits of meditation come not from the mind being quiet, but they come from the discipline of staying for the meditation, from the discipline of yoking, restraining. It's the effort toward yoking and restraining the mind. So keep that in mind, that the benefits come when we commit to that, the effort toward yoking the mind. And so next time, if you got up, rewind it, go back and do it again. Um, and use the meditation part every day. It helps to have an accountability partner. I find that it is easy to get up and be like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Something gets in the way. So use this video for the next week um, to do your 10-minute, two, 2 plus 10, 2 plus 10 every day. And good work. I hope you feel good. I hope you feel a little clearer, a little less stressed or overwhelmed or busy, whatever your go-to is. We all have our different defaults, right? The default patterns. Um, and so what we can do to make a difference in the world is show up and be our best selves. And that requires some discipline, and you're doing it. So congratulations, and I will see you the next time. Thanks.